As you may guess, we have a lot to talk about in the market report here in Southwest Florida. It's been a month. It's been a long month. We've dealt with Hurricane Ian that came through, wreaked havoc on our area. We're locally here, we're in a lot of, I'll say shock. There's just been a lot of disruption to people's lives, and whether people lost homes, homes were flooded, minimal damage, and just dealing with the mental side of everything. There has been a really terrible storm that has come through, I say that literally, but also figuratively, that is affecting our way of life in what is typically sunny Southwest Florida. And so that being said, when it comes to the real estate side of things, I want to get into the details of what we're seeing in the overall market, but also how the storm is impacting us and what that means for the future. So every single month, I go through the market update, and this is focused in Southwest Florida, so we have Lee and Collier counties specifically, and we talk about how those have changed year over year. We're going to do that here as well. Now, I also want to say that the storm came through like September 28th, 29th. This is September data, and so some of that will be a little bit skewed, but not in a huge way. The storm did come through at the end of the month, and many times we have closings that occur at the end of the month. And so some of these figures will be affected by the storm. So I just want to throw that out there. However, we did have a large portion of the month where we could have closings and other normal real estate activities taking place. Our big data is going to be coming through for the October stats. That will show, what the storm has done to us as far as shaking up things. All right, so number one, we're going to talk about closings. These are single family, and we're going to talk about it in Collier County. We had 281 closings over the course of the past month. That was down 41% year over year. That's a really big number, so a lot less closed. And then in Lee County, we have 894. That is down 37%. So you see closings down 37% and 41% respectively. So about 40% in general, the number of closed properties is down. That is quite significant year over year. And we knew 2021 was a banner year that wouldn't last forever, but that's a pretty big number. Now, median price, this is a big deal. Collier County, we're at $725,000 for the median price of a single family home. 5 months ago, that was $875,000. So it's $150,000 difference in 5 months' time, but it's still up 12% year over year. So we've still seen annual appreciation, but compared to how strong it was earlier this year, it has definitely softened quite significantly, about 20%. Now, as we look at Lee County, we're at we'll call it $415,000. That's up 16% year over year. And that was at one point earlier this year, $470,000. So that one has retracted, but the larger figures at Collier, that has seen a bigger retraction. Days on market, we're at 37 in Collier County. That's up 95% year over year. And then we have 27 days in Lee. That's up 108%. So not only are less properties closing, they're also taking longer to get contracts. And now we're at a lower price point. We knew that it wouldn't last forever, and we're starting to see some signs around that. Now, new listings, these are new properties coming on the market. In Collier County, we have 392 over the course of the month. That's down 29%. And in Lee, we have 1,198. That's down 20%. So actually less properties going on the market than last year, which is sort of interesting because as you see a little bit of a retreat, a lot of times people want to rush to put their homes on the market to try to take advantage if they're worried that prices are going to continue to come down. So I find that quite interesting. Now, in terms of the pending inventory, we have 673 pending in Collier County. That's down 34%. 1,914 in Lee, and that's down 22%. So this goes in line with what we've been seeing. Number of closings is retracted. Number of pending is retracted. That's just where we are. That puts our month supply in Collier County at 3.4 months. It's up 162%. compared to where we were this time last year. And then 2.7 months worth of inventory, that's up 106% in Lee County. So you're seeing like huge increases, huge decreases. We're seeing all kinds of things that are happening here in the market. Now, total volume, so we had $304 million worth of properties transact, single family again, in Collier County. That's down 36% year over year. And then in Lee, that's at $477 million. That's down 29%. So those figures being down, that's a big deal because that's less money coming into the market. We know you've been following the interest rates. We know the interest rates have continued to climb. We still have seen the year over year annual appreciation. Now, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. We had a massive storm, Hurricane Ian, come through and just do what it did to our area, and it was not pretty. Many people lost lives, many people lost homes. It was not a good situation, and that's going to further cause us more challenges when it comes to the home insurance market here in Florida. Now, what I will say with all of this is that during the storm, we saw, for the course of that week after the storm, we saw really not many properties transact at all, as you would expect. And by transact, I mean go pending, as you would expect. We lost a lot of power. People were worried about safety as a priority. So there was really a survival mode thing that went into play that took over instead of like, hey, we're going to go buy a second home. Like that just wasn't happening at that time. What I can report to you on is that the pendings have picked up since the storm. So we had a lot of properties that were on the market that were pulled off of the market, and that's because of damage. A lot of people who were wanting to sell, if they took on water, they can't sell any longer. They have insurance claims. You can't sell when you have an open insurance claim. Those are all causing disruption and causing problems with us doing the normal transactions in the market. Now, we were, again, way low on the number of pendings, around 100 or so in the week of the storm. Right now, we've been averaging over the past couple of months in the 700s to 800s properties go pending. 700, 800 properties go pending every single week. And now we're back up into the 500s. So you can see we're starting to get some more of the transactions coming back. Now, one of the major things, and I just posted a video about this, it's going to take place in our area, is that there is a special rule called the FEMA 50% rule, and that's going to affect a lot of people, and a lot of people are not aware of what that is. So be sure to click the link to the FEMA 50% rule, because there's going to be a lot of people who want to rebuild or remodel their home who are not going to be allowed to if they don't qualify for this FEMA 50% rule. So what's going to shake out with that? We're going to have payouts on some of the flood insurance that isn't going to cover a rebuild, and there's just going to be a lot of things that are going on. Now, if you are a seller in this market, there are people who need housing. We lost a lot of inventory. We lost a lot of homes in the area. And so there are, opportunities to be able to put your home on the market now and capture some of that. Now, if you are a buyer, there's a couple of good things that have taken place. Number one, we know that the interest rates have gone up. There's no question about that. There's some unique programs to be able to help with that. But what we've seen is with that price retraction, that's actually that's caused there not to be as big of a financial impact to the buyer on a monthly basis, especially if you as a home buyer were willing to buy a home earlier this year and pay a number that was much higher. Because if you take that same down payment that you're willing to do on a higher priced property and put that same down payment on a lower priced property, then all of a sudden you're financing less money and a higher interest rate doesn't have as significant of an impact. A lot of people don't think about that aspect to what's going on. But the other side of this coin is that anytime that there is some kind of a disaster or challenge, that does create opportunity in the marketplace. There are investors who we've already been, who have already been talking to us, and we've talked to other real estate brokers. There are investors who are looking to come in and buy damaged properties so that they can then buy it. The chances of another storm coming through and doing exactly what Hurricane Ian did, which was like the perfect worst case scenario, is very low. And so they want to take advantage of the people who want to flee Florida. They want to take advantage of that situation because there's going to be people who will always want to move to Florida. That's going to happen. Like, people are a little bit worried about that. But the reality is that everybody's known that hurricanes are a thing, that that's a possibility. It happens all over the world where there's hurricanes, but people are still attracted to what Florida has to offer, both politically, both, weather 99% of the time, and tax reasons, a lot of those things, people will still come to Florida. I believe that people have a short-term memory, and I believe that that will serve our area well because people will move on. We're starting to see that already around town. Like things are getting back to normal in the non-coastal areas that the homes were not completely ravaged. It's getting back to normal from that perspective. Like you can go down the streets, we got all power everywhere. We've got, it seems, I hate to say it seems normal, but unless you are coastal and or in the flooded areas, things look mostly like what they looked like before Ian around Southwest Florida. So anyway, that is my 2 cents. I'd love to know your thoughts. Do you think this is going to be a quick recovery? Do you think it's going to be a very long recovery? We know that the beaches are going to be affected for many, many years to come. That's the sad reality of it. Fort Myers Beach will never be the same. It just will never be the same. But we will recover from this. I just want to know from you, is this a short term? Is it a long term? And what are your thoughts? If you live here, are you staying? Are you going? What are you doing? I want to have an open conversation here because I think it really matters. And yeah, just put the comments below. Make sure you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you.